Okay, welcome again. This is Amazing Towing. We're in uh, Unit 2, finding real estate deals. And we just went through investor psychology. The next one is locating properties, right? So I am going to put up here, locating properties, which is module 2 of Unit 2, right? Locating properties, module 2 of Unit 2. Okay, so we are in the classroom. So I want you to take yourself out of the classroom right now and then imagine, right? Okay, imagine, someone put this down again. So imagine it's 8 o'clock in the morning. You probably hear a car driving by making noise. I'm recording this at home so you guys can see. So you wake up, you take a shower, you jump in your car and zoom, you're going to work, right? And on your way to work, you see a property, right, that looks vacant. Well, because you're in a hurry to go to work, you just look at it, oh, that property looks vacant, zoom, and you zoom up. And you do that every day. And then every day, you see the property and you drive by. You see the property, you drive over. You see the property. Guess what? That happens to thousands and thousands of people every year, every day. And so we have about 230 million properties with an M, right, in the US. At any particular time, anywhere from 1 to 4 million, right, are vacant, right? So when you look at total from statistics that I've read, we have close to 14 million properties that are vacant, and abandoned, right? So go to Google and just put their vacant and abandoned properties, and you will see millions of them. And you're saying to yourself, okay, so what's this good to do with locating property? Now, as an investor, there are several ways you could locate property, right? One of the most effective ways of locating properties is actually advertising that you buy properties, okay? But it takes money to do that. And so if you have no money, you can afford to advertise, you're just brand new in this business, all right? And you want to join the leagues of people like us, you need to find a creative way of finding properties. You need to find creative ways of locating properties, right? And so in some of the webinars and videos you've watched, they probably list all these ways for you, right? But let me tell you this, you only need 1 or 2 ways to locate properties. I'll give you an example. I'm gonna pull this, right? Let me pull this out, right? So you guys can see, I actually have, this is my, what do you call it? I don't know what you call it. So I'll put it here. Okay, so this is my production for this year so far, right? And it's got about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, about 9 properties in it. Look at this number here, $780,000, right? I do this full time. I don't expect you to have the same amount, right? But all these properties were located through one source, just one. Now, whereas there are another 25 different ways you could locate properties, right, out there. But I only located this through one source, okay? And that source is involved in here, right? Vacant, right? So I label them as vacant and abandoned, properties, right? Okay, and so if there are millions and millions of these, and it doesn't cost you money to find them, shouldn't you just focus on them? It's as simple as that. That's one way to do that, okay? You drive around in your neighborhood every day you map, you just let's say you take a square mile of your neighborhood, right? Just go to Google and map a square mile. And then you write down all the street names, right? All the street names within that square mile. And then you make it a duty to drive one street a day, after work, or on the weekend. In the weekend you could probably drive 5 or 10 of them. Okay, the reason you're driving it is that you want to see what changes happen in those businesses on a regular time, right? So that's how you know what's going on in the neighborhood. Okay, and so the moment you notice a house that is vacant, you write the address down. Okay, then you go and use the processes that I described in some of the models, okay, of locating the owner, right? Getting a profile on the property, okay? See what is on title, and see if it's in foreclosure, right? So basically to see what's going on with the property. That's it. Once you locate it, then you go deep. You run a profile, which is like a credit report for the property. That's how we did it. That's how we did, 9 properties in the last 1 year that brought in close to $700,000. It's not rocket science. There are other ways. You could be going on Craigslist, right? You could be calling real estate agents. What else? You could be calling your neighbors, you getting relationships. You could go online, all those online, Zillow and the rest of them, right? But nothing is more effective than going to the source. The source is properties that nobody wants. It's vacant, the owner is already left, and if you make contact with them and you say to them, hey, you know what, I came to rescue you, your property is vacant, do you need some help, right? That's where you make the most money, okay? So that's all I want to spend on here. But there are 100 other ways, right? The objective is to actually focus on one. The most effective way, most lucrative way, is when the people are calling you, right? In this case, also, they can call you because put it this way, when people are calling you about their property, you're in control, right? So if you send them a letter, right, they'll have to call you, right? And I did a property like that, in where the owner actually called me. Where's the property? It's not on here. Okay. I saw the property was vacant. I sent a letter to the owner. The owner lived in Vegas. And that's why I said, you guys imagine yourself right now doing the same thing. I've been driving this. That's how sometimes, we overlook stuff, right? I bought a property next to this property. I fixed the property up. And while I was fixing it up, I said, this property next door looks abandoned. I will probably call the owner, send the letter. Guess what? I fixed my property, sold it, and moved on. I never did. It wasn't until 3-4 years later, while I was driving, I saw the same property. And I said, wait a minute, this property is still here. It looks like still abandoned. Finally, I sent a letter. After 3 or 4 years, the owner responded, called me, and I said, the letter says, I'm interested in buying a property. So they called me, and the daughter called me, and she said, well, the property is my mom's. I moved my mom to Las Vegas a few years ago because she was sick. And so, just give us $5,000 and you could have the property. This property was worth $50,000. So give us $5,000, right? I immediately wrote up the offer, sent it to them. We got into escrow, right? By the time we were done, okay, because the property had a lot of problems, right? And some of the problems I probably discovered in other models. which has to do with title and liens. Okay, but when we were said and done, I made $17,000 on this property just for sending a letter. It cost me 44 cents to send a letter. The most I spent, besides the 44 cents, was $500. I spent $500 to clear all the junk out. Okay, so that's it in a nutshell. Okay, don't ignore properties when you're driving around. Okay, if it's vacant, it needs help. You help them, right? That's it in a nutshell. Like I said, this is the end of Module 2, and I'll see you Module 3.